You have the eye for human weakness, but not the stomach.
What's this about?
Oh, just a feeling I have.
Ouch. When you get those feelings, insurance companies start to go bankrupt.
What kind of music do you usually have here?
Oh, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
Lucky to have her. She's Shannon Watson, the head gal, the gal who started the whole thing. Majority in the middle. Politics we can be proud of. Shannon, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Al?
Perplexed, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna, if this keeps up, I'm gonna think that possibly Representative Hortman and Representative Demuth are Shannon-esque.
Okay.
I want to say 3 Wednesdays ago, we're going to get this thing done so we don't have to worry about Memorial Day. And then the Thursday, they all come out and they have the meeting, and then the door gets bashed on. So we're not going to make Friday. Okay, fine. But the following Wednesday come out. By Wednesday at 5, we're going to have this bad boy. Well, okay, not this Wednesday. Today, right. They came out again. By Wednesday, we think we can get this thing done. What's the color of the sky in their world? What has changed? What you know these people, you live with, you are these people. How? Right. Why keep setting up things Deadlines? You can fail at? Yeah, why do it? Yeah. Just say we're almost there. We're going to get there. You can be pretty vague. Wednesday at 5. Well, now you're wrong again. I don't get it.
I think that's because humans need deadlines. Like every single one of us will procrastinate the whole amount of time that we have. And
like the Constitution saying get it done by the 3rd Monday of the 1st day of May or whatever in the world, that wasn't good enough.
You know, you're dealing with a lot of people who are wrestling with a lot of things, and yeah, the sort of special session, and we're not even in special session, we're in the interim.
Yeah, we're waiting.
There aren't the same rules as would govern a normal session. Not the same rules, not the same norms. And so that makes it a little bit of a free-for-all. So those leaders are they're trying to keep people on task.
Can you tell me where we're at? It looks like the tax bill is the big dog here. Then does that include this data center thing came out of nowhere for me. I'm reading up on it, and Nick Frentz was on. That one kind of came out of the blue on me, and that Minnesota's evidently a prime spot for data centers. We have water and we have cold winter, so in the wintertime you can open a window and cool it down. I mean, just saves lots of money. So it seems like this would be good for us. And I don't know what the tax breaks were or not. I don't know, but we do this a lot. But evidently that's part of what's holding this whole kibosh up. And I just heard about it day before yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a topic of conversation in some circles. There's the sort of economic development argument of these are good things to have in the state, because we have availability of space. There are some environmental concerns about the amount of water and the amount of electricity that they use. And then there's sort of this ideological position that particularly the DFL House tax chair has taken.
Is that Rest?
No,
no.
That's the Senate.
Okay,
this is
sorry.
Aisha Gomez from Minneapolis, who doesn't think that anybody with a lot of money needs any way, shape, or form tax break. Like we should not be giving a corporation a tax break to do this. And that's an ideological position. Okay. I'm not going to say right or wrong, yes or no. But yeah, that's sort of what the easy arguments are had, the easy compromises are had, and now we're down to this.
But where did that come from? If I was going to talk to you a week ago, it was going to be the things holding us up. Illegal immigrants getting Minnesota care. It was going to be whether the unemployment insurance for school people that are hourly wages, and Dama saying no tax cut, no tax hikes. Those are the three things.
Well, those are three things that got reported and sort of floated to the top. I would say there's probably in all of those budget bills, there's probably, I'm not kidding with you, like 600 different issues between how we spend money and the policy stuff that goes along with it. There's probably 600 different things. And
Okay.
so, as you sort of knock down some of the pins of, okay, we figured that out, these are the things that are kind of still standing.
So what is it in your opinion that is standing? It's the data thing, right? That's one that is not what is not enough. 3-4 weeks ago they came out they're saying, hey, we got it figured out. Here's the numbers. It's all good. And then the door gets knocked on and now here we are. What's keeping the door from us having another press conference and getting it done?
That's a good question. Part of the challenge is there's all these different committees and who is in agreement and who is not. The tax bill was the one working group that was meeting in public, and they were trying to do a lot of the negotiation in public. I have mixed feelings on how successful that is. And sort of some of those deadlines were the threats, like, okay, you guys figure it out. If you're not figuring it out, leadership is going to take it and is going to do it. And the point that was made by at least 2 of the 3 chairs in those tax working groups was that, the people who are on the working groups are the ones that have deep institutional knowledge of this subject area. Mm-hmm. And they really need to be the ones to craft it. But that means they have to come to an agreement. And so the leadership was finally like, okay, we're taking this because, they're just sort of at an impasse and they couldn't quite figure it out. Some of that was procedural, frankly, and some of it I think had to do with, campaign speeches for social media that was happening during the.
Can we go down the road just a little bit? We get closer, I think, in whatever the day we're 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away from shutting this bad boy down.
Yeah.
There are bills that were okayed, the committees that did their jobs, that sounds horrible, or that got it done. I would use like the police and safety, public safety folks, right? We know that is done. But isn't it in the big, beautiful bill, if you'll pardon me stealing a phrase, in Minnesota? Is it part of that, or has that gone through and been signed by the governor?
Has been signed by the governor,
okay.
Yes.
So we know that if a shutdown happens, those people will continue to go and keep prisoners in jail. Because they've got their...
Yes. State gov got passed. Veterans got passed. Public safety got passed. Education ones are still outstanding. Taxes are still outstanding. Okay, but technically, you don't have to have a tax bill.
Yeah. Okay. So my point is, this idea that the government shuts down at the end of the month, what's left? I'm sorry for the education week, but I know there's some people who work in the summer, but for the most part, educators and the rest are not in class, right? I mean, it won't be by the end of June, so not necessarily getting pink slips. Some will. I know there's some people who work at the state level, but who is it that we're sending the pink slips to? I mean, is it a massive number? Did the Parks and Recs people get their pink slips? I don't know. So
here's the ones that have been signed by the governor. Human service policy, which that doesn't really actually have anything to do with the budget. They're still working on the money. The cannabis omnibus that got signed.
Oh, thank God! Thank God we've got the cannabis stuff figured out. No one's running the place, and it's double the tax. What a 50%
legacy bill. That's the legacy amendment that it's like 1 cent of the sales tax goes to water and outdoor heritage and arts. That got signed. Broadband and rural development got signed. Veterans and military affairs got signed. Housing and homelessness got signed. Pensions got signed. State and local gov and elections got signed. And then judiciary and public safety. So what's still outstanding are honestly the big ones. Transportation, bonding bill if we have one, health and human services, environment, energy, utilities.
So there's still quite a few folks. Okay. All right. There's work to be done.
So there's a lot that's still.
I got to go to break. I don't want to talk the policies behind it. You brought up bonding. Bonding hasn't got done. We don't have to have a bonding bill this year, but I think that's where we pick up the votes we need when we want to get something. We'll talk about a little horse trading possibly going on. I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent. We talk horse trading and other things right after this. With Majority in the Middle, she's Shannon Watson.
Special interests are represented in St. Paul, but who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
We've got our Shannon Watson in with us with Majority in the Middle. Shannon, here's where my question is premised from. So we could not get past the Senator Gustafson's Office of Independent General bill.
Yes.
Could not get that off. The last thing I read was, it's going to cost too much money, almost $9 million. $9 million to save $6. Okay, who could do that? We could never figure this out. It saddens me. It shocks me. I find this almost reprehensible. It may not have been the perfect bill. Let's just go. Maybe there was issues that need to be fixed. But on the other hand, we had no problem sending out an autism bill. If you want to set up an autism place, put a sign up and start sending us names and we'll send you money. We're getting ripped off blind. We have no problem doing that. But on the other side, should we look into it? We don't. I understand it. People are going to get what they want to get. I think there's other... The fact that it was on a party line, this is where I'm going from. 67%, 60 to 7 in the Senate. So there's bipartisanship there. Some people saying I can see good. Get to the House and it's right down party lines. Democrats say no. I cannot for the life of me believe if you talk those 67 human beings in a room and he had a discussion, there wasn't one that said, nah, the people in my district would have liked us to get that done.
Okay, so let me clarify one thing.
Okay.
When it came up on the House floor, it hadn't gone through the normal process in the House. And what was voted on that night, on the last night of session, about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, was to declare an urgency to be able to vote on the bill that night. That vote actually did get 3 DFLers voting for it. I think it's also the same 3 DFLers who were sponsors on that bill. So what failed was not necessarily should we have this or not. What failed was the procedural motion. And it's because you have to have a supermajority.
But it didn't get done. We have this. It's not done. It's not a part of this. This is over. Now they can do it next year. I get it.
Right.
But my point being is, this is why I'm sitting here. Why do we have this bonding? Why is bonding one of the things holding us up? It's not anything we have to do this year, right? I mean, This is not a bonding year. We don't have to. But this is where Representative Travis says, I could possibly go for this if you need it, but I surely could use a water treatment plant in Al's backyard, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It happens all the time. I'm not saying this is anything. This is how politics works. That's got to be the only reason the bonding bill is still open and still available, is to try to make something happen. Am I wrong? Am I being just, Al, stop looking so negative at stuff?
Well, the bonding bill already has to have, it has to have 60% instead of 50% to get through. And so that's generally the one bill that has to have some bipartisanship. Yeah. And yes, whoever's in the minority, whichever party, like this has happened both sides, they are usually, they usually sort of withhold the votes for that to negotiate some other things. Because of the situation in the House 67-67, I don't necessarily feel like the bonding bill is quite the linchpin that it has been. I mean, it is in the Senate, because you do need some votes from the Republican Party that's in the minority to get that through. But with the House, it was going to have to be bipartisan anyway. So I think again, sort of going back to the deadlines, I don't think the urgency is necessarily there. The urgency is definitely there from, construction trades and people who want these projects. But I don't know if it doesn't have the same kind of urgency as you got to pass the state budget or the state shuts down by June 30th.
Do we even have to the end June 30th? And I don't, 2.5 minutes enough to talk about this, but Senator Mitchell is supposedly going to start trial in less than 2 weeks, right? 13 days. And if we don't get her done this week, it looks like we're not. Now we're down to that last week before she's got to go, presumably. Now, maybe the judge, we don't know. This is a strange game to play. She could say, Judge, hey, we didn't get our work done. I need to postpone this again. And maybe he will. Maybe I don't even know.
Yeah.
Might do it. I don't know. But on the other hand, if they say, no, it's time to go to work, we're going to do this trial, what happens then? Now it's 33-33 and 67-67. And I think the Republicans just got a whole lot more power in their hands.
Yes. And I don't know. I mean, since there's so much of this negotiation that's happening and that, the agreements are usually made before the governor will call a special session.
Is that something that side's looking at, though? Or they must be looking at 10 days away?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and just with some of these bills, the 34 Democrats in the Senate may actually all not be on this. I can tell you, they're not all on the same page on 100% of the issues. So there may already be places where Republicans are exerting some influence in the Senate, trying to get some stuff that's a little more bipartisan that they can vote for. Because this is the thing, like the way we've been trending the last several years is, okay, if you got 34-33, that means the majority caucus has to be 100% in lockstep to get things passed. But that's only if you ignore the other 33 votes, where I think this year is the year, particularly in the Senate, they have the opportunity, and they have had, this play out a little bit, that you don't necessarily need to exclude the minority. You just got to have enough of them to offset any defectors in the majority party.
Okay. We're going to run out of time, and I don't want to run out of time without thank you for coming on. But also, you have coming up the state of bipartisanship, right, for the year? You put that big old thing together.
Bipartisanship report, yes.
Is that for anybody, or do we get them to force people to go to majoritymiddle.org and sign up today, and you'll get it? Is that what we're doing? Is that like a freebie? We
publish it pretty broadly. Our members do get some early access. That's probably going to come out the 3rd or probably the 4th week of June. So we'll do stuff around that. But if you would like it sent directly to you, going to our website and signing up for our newsletter is a good way to do that.
Majoritymiddle.org or majoritymiddle.com. Either one will get you there. Love having you on, Shannon. Thanks for doing this today.
Good to see you, friend.
All right. Always a pleasure. Shannon Watson on the Al Travis Show.